So in this video, we're going to provide 3 tips that we feel from our experience have helped with dealing with conflict with associations, as well as dealing with conflict within board of directors. So in the many years that we've been managing community associations, we see all sides of association management. We see the side where you have residents that are very happy, board members that are very happy. And in certain instances, we see the sides where residents are not happy and board members are having challenges amongst themselves. So what we wanted to do in this video is share some of our experiences and what we feel and what we've seen has worked for us. So the first tip is providing clear communication channels for your residents and for your board members. So what does that look like? It can look like many different ways, really depending on your association and your board of directors. But what's important to keep top of mind is that you have a clear channel of communication. So I'll first start with the board of directors. For the board of directors, you want to make sure that you're highlighting for them or outlining for them what are the channels that are going to be used to communicate amongst the board members. For some boards, that's emails. For other board members, that's a portal. That really depends on your association, but it's important that you have those channels open and that it's clearly understood as what should be communicated through those channels. Additionally, it's highly recommended for both board members and residents that you have pre-scheduled meetings. So if you'd like to meet with a manager to get an update, even though they're providing you weekly managers reports, but you want to have a communication path with them, then you want to have that pre-scheduled. If it's the first Friday or last Friday of the month or every Friday. Same thing goes with the meetings for your residents. If you have board meetings, if you have them monthly, it should be, let's say, on the second Wednesday of every month at the same time every single month. What this allows is for both board members and residents to clearly know how it should be communicated to management or how the board will communicate amongst each other. If you're a board and you're finding your situation very difficult to communicate, you have the open communication, but unfortunately the language that's being used is offensive and demeaning, then what I highly recommend is putting together a resolution where you have a code of ethics that all the board members agree on that they're going to follow. And it's just a simple document, don't overthink it, that just says, okay, this is how we're going to communicate. We're going to stay away from being offensive to each other. We're going to be fact-driven. And that way you have a tool to be able to utilize. If that board member continues to cross the line, then you have a decision that you need to make as a board of directors of how you're going to deal with it. Tip number 2 is fostering a culture of collaboration. So what does that mean? What that means to us is what's worked for us in our experience is just, when the board is open to listening to different opinions and not feeling just one-sided that this is the way that it needs to be, and it's an environment where, okay, I understand their opinion, I may not agree with it, but at least I listen to it. It creates a culture where everyone can be open and honest with each other. And then at the end of the day, as a board, you're a democracy. So you have the abilities of taking your vote. In our experience, where we find that it becomes very challenging is when board members want everyone to agree on that decision. And in our opinion, that doesn't always happen. What needs to happen is that facts are laid out on the table and discussions are had, whether you agree or disagree. You're keeping that code of ethics where everyone is, being respectful of each other, keeping any agendas to the side, and then ultimately making a decision that's not only best for the board of directors, but ultimately best for the community and its residents. The same thing goes when you're engaging with your team members or with your community association manager or with the staff. It's important to give them the opportunity to speak up of where they feel the challenges are. And that way, as a board, you can listen to those concerns and then make a decision of what direction you would take. When you're working collaboratively, or you have that culture of working collaboratively with the staff, as well as the board working in the same fashion, you're gonna find that the residents are gonna be dealt with in the same exact fashion. As the saying goes, pretty simple, treat others as you would like to be treated. Tip number 3 is implementing effective conflict resolution techniques. What you have to keep in mind as a resident or as a board member is that conflict is inevitable, whether in an association or whether working for an employer. One way or another, conflict will exist. However, it's how we deal with that conflict that allows us to really grow as a person or grow as a community in this particular case. So how do we do that? What we've applied here at Affinity is really just having empathy for our clients, getting an understanding of what the challenges are, really digging into the why that they have that concern, and then making sure that we repeat that back to them so that they feel as if they've been heard. If you apply some of these techniques as a board member, what we have found is that everyone gets the opportunity to be heard, and then ultimately decisions are made by the group. And that group, as I've mentioned earlier in the video, everyone doesn't necessarily have to agree, but the majority will make the decision that's right for the group as well as for your community association. There's also other tips that we would highly recommend. There's great conflict resolution books that we'd be happy to share with you. Just reach out to us. If you're a self-managed community or if you're a board finding yourself in a very difficult situation where the board members are just not getting along or where you're having challenges with residents, we also have other tips that have worked for us, and we'd be happy to share that with you. Please reach out to us at managedbyaffinity.com. If you've enjoyed this video, give us 2 thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel as we have weekly videos coming out. I'll see you in our next video.